You know, when a company gets to the absolute top of its game, we're talking huge names like Qantas or Woolworths, you'd think they could just sit back and relax. I mean, they've got the brand, the systems, the market share. But here's the thing, and it's a bit of a paradox. To stay on top, they have to keep climbing. So let's crack open the playbook that shows them how it's done.
It's a fair question, isn't it? You've already won the race, so why keep running? Well, in business, standing still is actually the fastest way to fall behind. You've got new competitors popping up, customer tastes are always changing, and eventually your home market just gets saturated. The truth is, growth isn't just about getting bigger, it's about survival. It's about staying relevant.
So when we talk about business expansion, we're not just thinking about, opening another shop. No, we're talking about a really deliberate, strategic move to pump up profitability and, this is the big one, to sharpen that competitive edge. It's all about keeping your rivals on their toes and making sure your company has a future.
So in this explainer, we're going to walk through the essential chapters of this playbook. We'll cover why you constantly need to grow, how to analyze your position, how to choose your strategy, how to make that global move, and finally, how to manage all the key players who can make or break your success.
Okay, with that reality check complete, it's time for the next chapter, deciding what your expansion will actually look like. This is the big picture decision that sets the whole direction. Based on your SWOT, which of these 5 main paths makes the most sense for you?
First up is vertical expansion. Think of it like this. You're taking control of your entire supply chain. A company like Woolworths does this perfectly by owning its food processing plants and distribution centers. It gives them incredible control over costs and quality. Now, this is a great move for a mature business in a stable industry, but the risk? You become less flexible, and man, it requires a massive amount of cash up front.
Next, we've got horizontal expansion. This is basically the if you can't beat 'em, buy 'em strategy. The huge merger between Nine Entertainment and Fairfax Media is a textbook example. It's a super fast way to grab more market share and just eliminate a rival. The biggest pitfall here, though, is trying to smash 2 completely different company cultures together. That's where these deals often fall apart.
Strategy number 3 is all about finding your tribe with a niche market strategy. So instead of trying to be everything to everybody, you go deep on one specific group. A company like Black Milk Clothing is brilliant at this, and they build this insane brand loyalty. It's perfect for smaller, more agile companies. But be careful, your niche could just vanish, or worse, get swallowed up by a bigger player if you're not constantly innovating for that core audience.
Then, of course, there's exporting, probably the most straightforward way to go global. You just take what you're already making and sell it overseas. For a company like Fonterra Australia, shipping dairy to Southeast Asia opens up massive new revenue streams. It means they're not just relying on the local market. It's a fantastic first step internationally, but the trade-off is you give up a lot of control over how your product is marketed and sold.
And finally, we have expansion through pure innovation and R&D. This is about creating the future, not just competing in the present. Atlassian is the poster child for this approach. This strategy builds an incredibly powerful long-term advantage. Now, it's super expensive and really risky. A lot of new products just flop, but when you get it right, wow, you can define an entire market for years.
So, you've analyzed your position and you've picked your big picture strategy. Maybe it's exporting, maybe it's creating a new niche product for another country. The next question is all about tactics. How do you physically get into that new market? This is the playbook for your first big move on the global chessboard.
Now, what's so important about this slide is the fundamental trade-off it shows so clearly. You're always balancing control against risk. You see how licensing up at the top gives you low control, but hey, it's also low risk? And down at the bottom, building your own foreign subsidiary gives you total control, but it also comes with the absolute highest risk and cost. You just can't escape that dynamic.
Let's break that down a bit. On one side, you've got your low commitment options. Licensing is basically letting a foreign company slap your brand on their product for a fee. It's fast, it's cheap, but you risk someone else messing with your brand's reputation. On the complete other end of the spectrum, a foreign subsidiary means you build your own operation from the ground up on foreign soil. You get all the control, all the profits, but it takes a massive investment and a deep, deep understanding of the local culture. The choice you make here really sets the tone for your whole global journey.
Before you can even dream about how to grow, you have to get your feet planted firmly in reality. And that brings us to the first analytical chapter of the playbook, the all-important reality check. You've got to start with a brutally honest assessment of where you really stand, right here, right now.
And the go-to tool for this, the classic, is the SWOT analysis. It might seem simple, but it's an incredibly powerful way to organize your thoughts about what's working for you and what's working against you, both inside your own company and out there in the big wide world.
A SWOT is pretty much split right down the middle. On one side, you have the internal stuff, the things you can actually control, your strengths and your weaknesses. And on the other side, you've got the external factors, the stuff you can't control but absolutely have to react to, the opportunities and threats lurking out there in the market.
So let's make this real and apply it to the outdoor retailer Kathmandu. Okay, internally, their strengths are a rock-solid brand and they're financially stable. Awesome. Their weaknesses, the products are seasonal and they rely way too much on the Australian and New Zealand market. Now externally, they see a huge opportunity with the growing demand for sustainable gear, but they also face massive threats from global competitors and, as we've all seen, a very shaky global supply chain.
But here's the thing, just making a list of points, that's not the goal. The real magic of a SWOT analysis is in connecting the dots, and this quote shows it perfectly. You take an internal strength, like Kathmandu's reputation for sustainability, and you link it directly to an external opportunity, like the global trend towards ethical products. Suddenly, you don't just have a list of facts, you have a clear, strategic path forward.
All right, your analysis is done, your strategy is set, and your tactical plan is taking shape. The final piece of the playbook, and honestly, probably the most complicated, is the people. Any big expansion, especially one that needs a ton of funding, means you have to deal with a complex web of stakeholders.
To help navigate this people puzzle, strategists use a really clever tool called the Power Interest Grid, or PIG for short. It helps you map out every single person who has a stake in your project based on two really simple things. How much power do they have to influence the outcome, and how interested are they in it?
What's great is that the grid gives you 4 very clear action plans. The people with high power and high interest, those are your key players. You have to manage them very, very closely. Folks with high power but low interest, like maybe government regulators, we just need to keep them satisfied. Your supporters with low power but high interest, keep them informed. And everybody else, you just monitor them. Simple.
Let's look at Kathmandu's need for financing through this grid. The board of directors and the major shareholders, they have high power and high interest. They're the ones you manage closely. Government regulators have a lot of power but less daily interest, so you keep them satisfied. And your employees, they're super interested but have less direct power, so you keep them informed. See? It brings clarity to a complicated situation.
And just like our SWOT analysis, the real gold is in the insight it gives you. This analysis tells Kathmandu's leadership exactly where they need to focus all their energy. If they want to get this expansion funded, they absolutely must convince the board and major shareholders with some seriously strong financial projections. It connects managing people directly to winning in the marketplace.
So, there you have it, the Strategist's playbook, laid out in a logical flow. You start by understanding why you even need to grow in the first place. Then, you get real about your position with a SWOT analysis. Armed with that knowledge, you choose what your strategy is going to be, and then how you're going to enter that new market. And finally, you line up all the key people to make it happen, using the Power Interest Grid.
From the 30,000-foot view of strategy down to the on-the-ground execution, this playbook gives a clear path for great businesses to not just survive, but to really thrive. So, I'll leave you with this question. If your business was ready for its next big leap, which page of this playbook would you open first?